Our News is brought to you by Aliv.
Believe in best.
Coming up tonight on Our News, the police chief's warning to Bahamians this holiday weekend. Vaccine hesitancy lingers even as more doses arrive in the country. And quite a catch. Dozens line up for Good Friday fish. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, police will be on high alert this holiday weekend and will be clamping down on crowded parties and beaches, according to Police Commissioner Paul Roll. Jasmine Brown reports.
In anticipation of the long holiday weekend, Police Commissioner Paul Roll says police will be beefing up their presence across the country in a bid to clamp down on large gatherings.
But the police are going to be out and making sure that everybody is safe.
With photos and videos of large crowds gathering on the beach in recent days, Roll says keeping an eye on the coastlines will be critical.
We'll be out onto the beaches and in the community, and I want to also encourage persons to abide by the rules. That way we don't have to force that and enforce it. We want people to be able to enjoy themselves on the beaches and just simply abide by the rules.
The Ministry of Health reported last week that there was a marked increase in new COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations on New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Abaco. Officials are also worried that Grand Bahama will likely see a third wave of the virus.
Every Bahamian citizen, resident, and visitor must take responsibility, personal responsibility, first of all, for their own safety and for the safety of others. The police are going to do their part, but I don't want to make this a police-centric thing because it's the people who are refusing to abide, and then you find in a few days later, persons are falling sick.
The RBPF has not gone unscathed by the pandemic, as dozens of officers have been infected with the virus over the last year. Roll says the most recent case of COVID was confirmed just this morning.
We are doing the follow-up to make sure that nobody else is infected in those areas.
Now the commissioner says police will be keeping a close eye on those gatherings, not only during the holiday weekend, but also throughout the pandemic. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, vaccine hesitancy lingers, with many saying they want to see what happens to other people who take the vaccine before committing. Here's Jared Higgs.
When I see ministers take it, then I'll take it.
He took it already.
He didn't take it.
Well, he did. He went on national television and took the vaccine.
I didn't see it.
With thousands more COVID-19 vaccines now in country, some Bahamians are still expressing doubt and mistrust about the jab. This exchange between Our News and some supermarket customers, including a man passing by, shows just how deep that mistrust is.
I want to see the vaccine going in his.
I won't keep it myself.
Thank you. Thank you for real.
Don't think you took it?
No.
There is no evidence to suggest that Dr. Minnis or any of society's other leaders have taken a fake vaccine. Governor General Sir C.A. Smith, Commissioner of Police Paul Roll, Leader of the Opposition Philip Brave Davis, and many others have all received their first doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Tourism Minister Dionisio Diagler says he hopes that gives people confidence in its safety.
We are firmly behind the science that supports that this is an acceptable vaccine that has already been delivered to 20 to 30 million people across the planet.
But the reality is there are some who aren't moved, like 29-year-old security officer Melissa Green. A lot of the leaders in society have taken it. Does that make you feel more confident about it?
No, because I don't know if they take it for sure.
She, like many others, wants to see the vaccine's impact on others before committing. Another 20-year-old resident expressed even more doubt about the vaccine.
I really don't believe in the vaccine because why would you take the vaccine if you still would have side effects if you get COVID-19?
The purpose of taking the vaccine is to prepare your body to be able to launch an aggressive immune response if it comes into contact with the virus. In the coming weeks, more groups will be eligible to be inoculated. Of course, there are thousands who have already taken the vaccine and thousands more waiting for their opportunity to be vaccinated.
You gotta work, right? You gotta take the vaccine to work, then take the vaccine. You can't offer everybody on that.
What you would take it then?
For my family, yeah.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Police Commissioner Paul Roll has filed a criminal complaint against a man who made multiple accusations against him in a video that has since gone viral. When asked to respond, Roll recited this Bible verse.
Blessed are those who are reviled for righteousness' sake, when men will rise up and tell all manner of lies against you. So I feel blessed. I've turned the matter over to CID, and I believe CID will do what they have to do. I don't indulge in nonsense.
In a statement on Tuesday, police said Roll takes attacks on his reputation seriously. Roll says the matter is out of his hands and dismissed the claims as offensive.
I said I don't indulge in nonsense. Do you understand me? CID is investigating it. I have nothing to deny. If he made an allegation, then he should bring his facts. And in the absence of that, I think we have to be respectful. Okay, I don't want to go any further with that because I'm offended by the comments and I've made the complaint. And I would expect that CID will do what they have to do.
Cable Bahamas Group today announcing that its Chief Operating Officer, John Gomez, will become Aliv's new CEO on May 1st. It comes as Chief Aliv Officer Damian Blackburn departs effective April 30th. President and CEO of the CBL Group, Franklin Butler, says when Aliv was formed in 2016, CBL had committed to ensuring that Bahamians were given an opportunity to understudy key leadership roles. Adding, Gomez has spent much time underpinning key operational roles in Aliv. He describes Gomez as a transformational executive with foresight and an impressive history of surpassing ambitious business goals. Butler thanked Blackburn, who he says has been a remarkable leader at Aliv, adding his expertise, experience, and business acumen delivered a monopoly-breaking brand and business in Aliv. Butler says looking at Aliv's performance in its first 15 trading quarters, it has rapidly grown market share to just shy of 50%. Revenue growth has followed with 56% compound annual revenue growth rate. And business is booming for fishermen at Montague Ramp as Bahamians get their hands on fish and other seafood in preparation for Good Friday. Kyle Joaquin caught up with them today.
It's going to be a busy Thursday tomorrow for vendors here at Montague Ramp as Bahamians take full advantage of last-minute deals on fish.
Margaret fish, turbot, mutton fish, more lobsters.
The Good Friday rush bringing many out to local fish vendors in search of their favorite catch. From grouper to conch and crawfish, Montague Ramp is expected to be booked and busy, at least for the next 2 days.
Y'all come down at Montague Ramp, we giving deals all day.
Yeah, snapper is a popular fish in the Bahamas. And it's one of our favorite dishes.
Gregory Brown has been fishing for the past 10 years and says after an unusual Good Friday sale last year, where fishermen were unable to sell on the ramp or at the dock, they're glad to be out.
Just at the end of the month, people get paid, so we hope that all Bahamians come and patronize all fishermen. You know, this is Easter time, so we hope for the best. Well, I have snappers. I also have the jacks. Also, we don't have no goggle eye at the present time, but the goggle eye will be in first thing in the morning. Also, we have mutton fish.
Cars are parked up and people waiting patiently as they watch their catch get cleaned. These fishermen with sleeves rolled up and hands full of scales as they worked to push out the orders.
I'm kind of slow, but I had 1 or 2 good sales for the morning.
Carson Culmer was out here cleaning conch and making salad all day. Although he says things started off slow, business has picked up. This return customer who has worked on a yacht for 25 years says he goes to no one else in town.
This is one of the last remaining spots in the Caribbean that you can get the real thing. So I'd rather come here than go anywhere else and get my fish, conch, everything. Yeah, and my peppers for my conch salad.
Real pepper. This time, so last year we was in the yard, but things kind of picking up now.
And as Bahamians are known to be a bit last minute, these fishermen say they expect business to pick up even further on Thursday and even Good Friday. And while they may run out of parking space, there is one thing there's no shortage of.
We get jacks, we get hogfish, we have everything.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
We got some showers in the capital last night. Is there more ahead? Greg Thompson is over in the Weather Center.
Thanks again, Christina. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather. A warm evening setting up on the outside. Temperatures are in the mid-70s, 75 degrees outside our studios with just some passing clouds, a bit of a breeze out of the southeast at 8 knots. Your feels like temperature at 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Satellite view around the area. We have an easterly to southeasterly flow across the islands. Breezy, sunny day around the islands most of the day. Some patchy clouds moving across the southeast Bahamas as well as the Exumas and Grand Bahama. A couple of showers associated with that. We could see a few more of those showers later on tonight. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, the latest on that police investigation into the DNA protest, plus what Bahamians think of the PM's warning to avoid large gatherings after weeks of political campaigning. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
The investigation into a March 3rd protest that led to the arrests of the leader of the Democratic National Alliance and several other party members is still ongoing. Police Commissioner Paul Roll reveals that lawyers for the police force are looking over the case file.
Until I complete that, I don't wish to comment on it. I have respect for the process, and I haven't spoken to them as yet, but I have my police attorneys who represent, and I've given them some instructions as what to do and to get back.
Well, the Prime Minister's defense of campaigning during the pandemic while urging Bahamians to behave this holiday weekend, drawing mixed reactions from the public. Berthany McDermott explains.
Following the call from the Prime Minister to avoid large gatherings this Easter holiday, some Bahamians are hitting out at the major political parties, which have been campaigning in large groups in various constituencies for weeks.
I feel like we should just wait and sit it out and let's see how it's going to go, because so much of people are dying from the pandemic.
But I wouldn't let them into my home. I keep them at least on the porch or at the front gate, because it is kind of risky in this pandemic.
It's the double standards, because then, you'll see the groups in the different shapes, them gather together. But then yet when you go to the funerals, the police will come there and, they'll want to stop you and stuff like that.
They added that the focus shouldn't be on campaigning at this time, but rather on building the economy and beating the virus. But not everyone shared that view. Stephen Nesbitt admitted that he too has been on the campaign trail in recent weeks. He said recent walkabouts held by both parties were done right.
If you're disciplined enough and you know that there's face mask protocols, you're hand sanitizing and you're not entering people's homes, you're not touching people's doorknobs, and I think if you're, like I said, disciplined enough to do it responsibly, I think it can be done.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis defended walkabouts by the political parties, stating masks were worn. He also warned Bahamians to avoid large gatherings, adding only groups of 5s are allowed on beaches.
Well, I hope it's group of 5 for them too.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Still to come, a veteran broadcaster's battle with cancer, plus Athletic Training Month wraps up at UB. The details after this.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is Our News. Welcome back. After decades of telling the stories of the nation and representing the Bahamas abroad, a former broadcaster and diplomat is fighting stage 4 lung cancer without health insurance. And now he needs your help. At the start of the pandemic, veteran journalist Ed Bethel began writing his memoirs, telling the stories of the major events he covered and the hands he shook as a Bahamian diplomat abroad. And like many people, he began getting more active with all of the downtime. But that's when his story took a turn for the worst.
And I realized when I was walking in the evenings, just around the neighborhood, I was getting a shortage of breath. And
And that's probably when the cough came on. But I wasn't aware of it. I just said, this is the age. I turned 80 on November 11th.
When the cough didn't subside, Bethel went to see his doctor. Tests and scans revealed fluid in one of his lungs, a red flag that led doctors to take a biopsy to confirm the prognosis.
Lung cancer, stage 4. Well, that was the hard blow for both my wife and I. But I'd taken it pretty good. She didn't take it as well as I did.
After decades of working as a civil servant and diplomat, Bethel says he returned home just 3 years ago, having completed his assignment as High Commissioner of the Bahamas to the Court of St. James in the United Kingdom.
When we finished London and came back, the price of insurance for a 77-year-old guy, I mean, you just couldn't live on pension. You'd be hand to mouth every day. And so we just worked on faith.
Their luck changed in the summer of 2020 when Bethel's wife required medical care, which nearly exhausted all of the couple's savings. Ironically, Bethel says he recalls covering the debut of the National Insurance Scheme.
And people were saying they were going to kill the minister. The minister then was Sir Clifford Darling for taking money out of their paychecks. Today you go to the National Insurance and they say, wow, what a wonderful thing this has been.
Since learning of his cancer, Bethel's children have set up a GoFundMe account to cover his battle ahead.
Outpouring has been fantastic. I never dreamt that so many people knew me and loved me. And I'm really thankful and grateful that they have shown such a love for me. I am truly blessed, truly blessed.
And tonight in sports, DeAndre Ayton and the Suns staying hot. Marcellus Hall has the highlights.
All right, thanks a lot, Christina. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. On this Hump Day Wednesday, we bring you a team that's actually gotten over the hump quite nicely so far in the regular season. DeAndre Ayton and his Phoenix Suns, they're serving notice early on that they're one of the forces to be reckoned with in the Western Conference. Last night, looking to solidify their record even more. Let's take a look and see how they did. Damian DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns continuing to serve notice. They are a force to be reckoned with in the NBA's tough Western Conference. Last night, taking on the Atlanta Hawks, Suns led for most of this game before a pair of made free throws by Hawks star Trae Young tied the game with just over 3 minutes left to play. Suns to buckle down, though, as they hold on for the win, 117-110. Ayton played 29 minutes, finished with 13 points, 14 rebounds, and 2 assists. Suns now 32-14 on the year. They play again tonight when they take on the Bulls. Meanwhile, the University of the Bahamas Athletics Training Department using the month of March as Athletics Training Month. The goal being to spread awareness of the importance of athletic trainers worldwide. UB head athletic trainer Sasha Johnson with more on the concept.
They use that as a way to promote the profession and let people know how important we actually are. The reason that we are important is that we provide that immediate care for the injured athlete. And that injury could be something very mild like a sprain or a strain, or it can be something a little bit more severe like a concussion. They're highly trained and skilled in dealing with those type of injuries.
Johnson further detailing the various facets of athletic training and their importance in protecting the athletes themselves.
We use this as a screening for them before they get into competition and practices. And what we do, that tries to reduce the risk of injury for the particular athlete. So we look for things like athletes that may be at risk for sudden death. And those things include any type of heart abnormalities or irregularities. And then we also look for athletes that may be at risk for other medical issues or any type of orthopedic conditions where we can kind of refer them for further evaluation and then deal with the situation at hand before we get into competition.
And there it is, your look at sports here on this Wednesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Marcellus. Walking through the Stations of the Cross is coming up after the break.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. A cold front moving in for the long holiday weekend. Greg is back in the Weather Center with the details.
Thanks again, Christina, and a happy Wednesday evening, everybody. Breezy, warm day around the islands, lots of sunshine. Patchy clouds moving across portions of the Bahamas, generating a few showers. High pressure system across the area will eventually move out towards the east, paving the way for a frontal boundary now across the southeast United States. That should get here by Thursday into Friday, ushering some showers along with the boundary, but cooler and breezy conditions expected by the weekend. Your boating forecast for the northwest Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of southeast to south, 10 to 15 knot seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. While in the central and southeast Bahamas, we have a caution flag posted for you guys down there. Winds will be east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be running 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Your high tide will be at 11:05 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Monday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody. Christina?
Thanks, Greg. Well, Holy Week is one of the most important events on the liturgical calendar, signaling the end of Lent. Tonight, Jerome Sawyer walks us through the stations of the cross.
Jesus proceeds on his way. He's met by his mother. What a meeting that must have been. What a sword of anguish must have pierced that mother's bosom. What must have been the compassion of that son for his holy mother?
It's a centuries-old custom reserved mainly for the 40-day period known as Lent.
May we never offend thee anymore, or may we love thee without ceasing. Make it our delight to do in all things thy most holy will.
It traces the 14 steps or stations leading up to the death of Christ by crucifixion. It is observed by the Anglican, Lutheran, Methodist, and Roman Catholic churches. And in churches like the historic St. Agnes Anglican Church, the observance is held twice a week, attracting every age group.
I think the death of Jesus and the way he suffered and the way he went through that suffering, I mean, not rebuking or trying to get away, but simply in great humility enduring all that was thrown at him, and still at the end forgiving even those who were driving the nails in his hands, and looking after his mom and on the cross, and looking after his disciples. And it is just a compelling story.
Each station or piece of the story is brought to life in a ritualistic reading and response.
Jesus is dragged before Pilate, his back torn with scourges, his head crowned with thorns.
Just further deepen my spiritual relationship to follow essentially the way of our Lord.
A story well over 2,000 years old, kept alive through generations who remain active in the church.
With the younger persons, we tend to just dismiss things, especially when we don't understand them. But this tradition, it just truly speaks to the importance of it as well, and saying that in each of these traditions, they bring meaning, they bring deeper understanding.
All is now finished. And meekly bowing down his head, he gives up the ghost.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jerome Sawyer.
Thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.